To start off, what a sensation of how much I love card versus card and how hard we've been working on the past couple of months improving it in secrecy, and holding it back to this date. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. This is the main course meal. I am uber excited to bring this to you. This is Card versus Card. It's a series where we have cards basically battle to the death in a way, where we debate them, read the effects, and say ultimately what card's better than the rest of them. And to kick this one off is one that my wife came up with. Yay, Mrs. Avalon. Come on. Yay. So, we're going to have Goyo Guardian versus Gaia Knight, the Force of Earth, versus Iron Chain Dragon versus... I can't even read the actual name there. It's HTS Behemoth. I'm going to break down the words together like that. Versus Cyrus versus Bryonak versus Orient Dragon versus Mighty Warrior versus Tempest Magician versus Gravity Warrior versus Flamewell Yukizaris versus Beast God Vulcan. You may just know him as Vulcan the Divine. This is a 12 card versus card battle, and this isn't the first of these that we've done, but this is the first in the new layout, so I want some feedback, not to sound that way. Let me know if you guys are enjoying the new layout, because we've been working hard on trying to get that layout going. And we're not talking about that pro, we're talking about like the cards popping up and everything. Alright. Grail Guardian spans because it's basically a brain control by destroying a monster. Gaia is a 2600 point monster with no effect, which means it lasts at Fiendish Chain and it's overlooked. Iron Chain Dragons allows you to basically mill 3 cards at the top of your opponent's graveyard. But the question is, why would you even bother running this? Is because it's a Breeze Dragon. And it's a 2500 beat stick. Behemoth, HCS Cyhamuth, whatever, that's going to be on repeat for a while. Basically, is a DD warrior lady. Sorry about that. I'm reading like the top and I'm trying to read the bottom. Cyrus is a monster that when it's destroyed and sent to the graveyard, target one face-up monster your opponent controls and it loses 2400 attack. Comes out of Shadow Specters. Bryonak, you can discard any number of cards and you could constantly keep doing it as long as you have cards and target same number of cards on the field and return them. This makes Mermail tier 0. Orient Dragon, when it's synchro summon, it banishes a synchro if you choose to do so. It's also wind, so it has some usability. Mighty Warrior, this card and the image I'm using, it hasn't been released to the TCG, so that is actually just a TCG mock-up. Just so you guys are aware, nothing's confirmed yet with his release. But if this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you inflict the damage equal to the monster's attack points by half. But then we move on to Tempest Magician, who's a burn card, and it's really good for Fables, but kind of overlooked too. Gravity Warrior, when this card synchro summon, gains 300 attack for each face-up monster your opponent controls. Once returned during your opponent's battle phase, you target one face-up defense position monster your opponent controls, change it to face-up attack, and that target must attack this turn if able. Then we have Flamewell Euchre, whatever, I can't even pronounce it. But basically it does piercing damage, and then it gains 300 attack every time it does. Vulcan is a toned down Tony the Tiger. Well, he's a steroid Tony the Tiger, but a toned down Bryonak. Kind of got my words a little confused there. So these are all the level 6 generics synchros that you can choose for running. 2 of these are banned. And there's a good reason those 2 are banned. So let's put it to you this way. We're going to do it this way. Is the Flamewell worth it? No. So he's immediately being kicked out of this battle. Mighty Warrior lacks any real strength for being a level 6 synchro. He should at least have 2400, but he's 22, so he's not that useful. And then let's move on to Blue Cyrus. I know there's a lot of people who love this card, but it has to be destroyed and sent to the graveyard, and it has to be a monster target to lose 2400. So it's kind of like if you want to just make a monster 0, but meh, not that great. Tempest Magician requires you to discard stuff, so unless you have something that can get a benefit off it, it's not really worth it outside of the OTK. Gravity Warrior, again, that stats, they just bad. Orient Dragon, for the format, synchros aren't as heavily played, and this guy isn't really worth the summon because there's better things to go into. Vulcan. Not sound that way, it's just true. Excuse me. Gaia Knights, while he has no effect in Ghetto Fiendish Chain, he's pretty much outdated and useless at this point in time. Iron Chain Dragon, kind of the same reason. The Breeze Dragon, meh. Outside of Dragon Rulers, you really don't want to bother. Behemoth, this guy is really useful. Vulcan is really useful. If it was a battle of, which card is legal, I would say Vulcan. But since it's not, Vulcan and Behemoth are not winning this battle at all, so we're just gonna kick them out. See, look at that. They don't even want to go. We have Goyo versus Bryonak. A lot of people will side with Goyo, but honestly, if Konami said to us, these two cards, pick one of them's coming back, I would always pick Bryonak because Bryonak is that much more useful. Goyo is an amazing card and has broken the standard for level 6 monsters with only having 2,500 or 26. This guy has 28. That's pretty freaking f***ed up if you ask me. Yes, I dropped almost dropped the F-bomb with that one. Bryonak, on the other hand, you bounce everything and it laughs at you. So it only has a 2,300 attack points, but it's not all about the attack points. It comes down to the effect. Goyo Guardian sadly loses with the other 10 or 11 synchros that didn't make the cut, and Bryonak wins this card versus card battle. Now, if you're new to this, we move on to the next one, and there's 9 more. Here we go. I believe someone requested it, and all the names of the requesters will be above. And I know I probably haven't mentioned this, it will only be 10 battles per card versus card. We're going back to that old school style. And anything that's not used, but still in the comments, will be used at a later point in time, somewhere where it fits, and we need another one or another 2. So we'll get to everyone. But this is Fire Formation Tenki versus Reinforcements of the Army. Now, the argument is that Tenki is getting really good because there is a poop load of Beast Warrior monsters to grab from your deck, or basically, it's a giant pool. Reinforcements of the Army still has a much bigger pool because it's all warriors. And warriors, as we know, have defined the game into a certain way. A lot of people seem to forget that. Dark Grepher, Armageddon Knight, Stratos, Destiny Hero Diamond Dude. These are just some of the warriors, Exile Force, that we can mention throughout the past formats that have made their ways. Even DD Warrior Lady at one point. Fire Formation Tenki has seen the likes of Bear, who's ultimate Exile Force by popping the back row, or Wolfbark, who's been used in Fire Fists and, Fire Kings. It's pretty much everything fire. And that's where Tenki shines and kind of lacks at the same time. It lacks the amount of warriors, the amount of targets that, say, Reinforcements of the Army has behind its warriors. And even Reinforcements of the Army is going to be used again in Noble Knights. So, clearly, we could say that Reinforcements of the Army gets the win. This is one I had a lot of fun with, is Brain Control versus Change of Heart versus Mind Control. And I'm sure most of you know what Mind Control is, but I'm going to still read it off. You take control of one monster your opponent controls until the end phase. It cannot declare an attack or be tributed. Basically use it for synchro or exceed plays. Change of Heart, you select one monster on your opponent's side of the field, take control of the selected monster until the end phase of this turn. No cause. You can do whatever you want with it. You can attribute it, synchro it, exceed it, fusion summon, ritual summon it. It's silly. Allows you to do a lot of stupid things with it. Change of Heart, honestly, just brings back memories. Brain Control, you have to pay 800 life points, select one face-up monster on the field, and you take control of it to the end phase. Again, not really much of a cost there besides the 800 life points. It's basically Change of Heart with 800 life points built in, and at one point people thought that this was balanced and should stay limited based upon. We can easily see that Mind Control is not going to be a contender in this match, so it comes down ultimately to Brain Control and Change of Heart. But Change of Heart is the king of swap, swap, take, tribute, whatever, synchro, exceed. So Change of Heart gets the win, no contest about it, because it doesn't have to be face up. Brain control has to be face up. That is, you can do whatever you want with it. Mind control doesn't allow you. And change your heart for the win. On to the next battle. Feeling trollish much? Morphing Jar versus Morphing Jar number 2. Morphing Jar 1 can give you a brand new hand, while Morphing Jar 2 can send everything back to the deck until you're able to get monsters on the board to the equivalent of what you had. It's a really trolly card. One gives you +5. One can give you, well, your opponent a -10 by milling the cards in the deck, but it can also speed them up. Both of these guys are only really seen in Empty Jar. If you want to get really trolly and just do it, Morphing Jar in stuff like Tanukits, Ghost Tricks, or Dark Worlds. I don't really advise that, but people have done it. People have done crazier things than that. But both of these guys are Earth, and stats don't really matter. It just comes down to who's got the better effect. Do you want to get +5, or do you want to troll the hell out of your opponents? Well, honestly, I'd rather always draw a brand new hand, because I can burn my entire hand, flip up Morphing Jar, and just get a brand new hand and OTK out of the butthole, then it's worth it. But with that said, same reflect as Morphing Jar number 2, it's good for trolling your opponents. But still, the win goes to Morphing Jar. On to the next battle. Okay, now we have Writing Together versus Max C. Now we did have a first take on this. I'm going to show Writing Together first, but we did have a first take on this, but the keyboard decided to ultimately die, so I had to switch keyboards. So here we go, without wasting any time. Writing Together, each time your opponent adds a card from their deck or graveyard to their hand this turn, except by drawing them. Immediately draw one card. You can only activate one Writing Together per turn. So where does this card shine so that we can get some credibility for it? Okay, every time your opponent searches, that's when you're getting your draw. Every time they use M7 or bring something back from the graveyard to their hands, Writing Together actually shines. Maxi, on the other hand, go to Maxi, double pitcher. You can only activate during you can activate this card during either player's turn by sending it to your hand to the graveyard. This turn, each time your opponent special summons a monster, draw one card. You can only activate one Maxi per turn. The reason Maxi is so good is because it's every time the opponent special summons. Now, against a deck like Fire Fist or Evil Swarm, this card's not going to shine nearly as nicely as it normally would. Writing Together shines in those kind of cases. Shine bright like a Writing Together, but it's still kind of lackluster compared to Maxi. So that's ultimately why Maxi is going to win this battle. But who knows, maybe Writing Together will get so good that it makes Maxi look like poop. We'll have to see later down in the future, but we can only predict for now. Let's move on to the next battle. 6 Sense versus Painful Choice. I wanted to leave this for last, but I didn't. So 6 Sense, declare 2 numbers from 1 to 6. Your opponent rolls a 1/6-sided dice. If the dice result is either of those 2 declared numbers, draw that number of cards. If not, you send the top cards of your deck to the graveyard equal to the dice roll. Let me just say this card's broken, utterly stupid, and should be banned. Limited. Should be banned immediately. Even if it's a one of, it has a power of like Crush card. For those of you who don't know, this is Painful Choice. I'm going to get to that in 1 second. You select 5 cards from your deck and reveal them to your opponent. Your opponent selects 1 card among them. You add that card to your hand and then discard all the other cards. Now for those of you who don't realize how powerful this is, choose 3 Wolf and 2 Necro Gardener. You can't go wrong. You will regardless either get 3 Wolf on the field, 1 Necro in hand and 1 Necro in the graveyard, or you will get massive setup on the board. Painful Choice is just a silly card that should never return. 6 Sense is like the trap card version of it. So it ultimately comes down to what's better, 6 Sense or Painful Choice. Well, quite honestly, 6 Sense could be MST'd face down, trap stunned, and Painful Choice really can't. There's only a couple ways to stop Painful Choice, and even though 6 Sense may look like it's better, Painful Choice allows other decks much more powerful than things that get a benefit with 6 Sense to be abused. Look at the people crying on Painful Choice, and that can tell you right there. So Painful Choice for the win. Moving on. I won't lie, this one was a little bit of a challenge for me. We have Tour Guide on the left, Crane on the right. Now for those of you who are not familiar with Crane, it allows you to special summon a level 3 monster from your graveyard. Level 3, yeah, I believe it has to be level 3. It's kind of like, it falls into that Debris Junk Warrior battle that we've always talked about on card versus card. It's always falling into that category of, we want more special summons, let's burst them all. And then Tour Guide, who fetches from the deck. So let's look at the minuses and the benefits of each one before I actually give a winner. Tour Guide's Dark. That means it's Dark Arm food. It's level 3. It pulls from the deck. It allows you to go wind up Zen mains. It lets you get one out of the deck faster. It allows you to put stuff like Tour Bus in your deck, pull some back from your graveyard or your opponents, and just screw up their whole strategy. Or just put one card that you really want back in your deck and then play Maxi and draw it out. Crane, on the other hand, doesn't have the benefit of getting it out of the deck, meaning it could be dead a little bit early on. While Tour Guide turn 1 can just spam out rank 3 like it's nothing. It's kind of silly. No, it just is. Crane, on the other hand, can pull stuff like Dandelion out of the deck, so it's not limited to those level 3 fiends that we're always so used to using with Tour Guide. So Crane's definitely a great card and everything, but Tour Guide gets the win. And the only reason Tour Guide gets the win is because Crane relies on having that level 3 or lower, level 3 in the graveyard for you to special summon. If it's not there, it's dead in the hand. And then what are you going to really do with it? You know, there's nothing you can really do. Tour Guide, it baits out Effect Beller, or it gives you a rank 3. So definitely Tour Guide for the win. And on to... I'm not sure who requested this, I'm sure someone did. It's Threatening Roar versus Waboku. The name will always be on top. So let's do this. Threatening Roar, why am I saying or? Threatening Roar, your opponent cannot declare an attack this turn. Simple and easy to understand. Waboku, you take no battle damage this turn, your monsters cannot be destroyed by battle. Threatening Roar basically says no battle phase, screw GBs. Waboku says, come at me, flip up my monster, allow my monster effect to go through. Attack my GB, allow my GB to live, while I swap and blow you smithereens. So it ultimately comes down to which card is more flexible. Is it Threatening Roar, or is it Waboku? Quite honestly, Waboku is really, like, I don't want to say busted, but it's really good. But Threatening Roar just says, no battle phase. You're not even going there. You're not going to get it. You're not going to use that Red Dragon Archfiend's effect. I'm not going to allow you to do it. So Threatening Roar for the... Felgrand on the left, Heretic King, Heliopolis on the right. Which one of these two bad boys is the better rank 8? Felgrand can protect all your monsters with its protection effect by detaching one card either player's turn, protect your stuff. Heretic King can blow it to hell if you got a monster in the hand. They're both rank 8, I believe. Yes, they're both right. The light, the Felgrand's ultimate, so it's kind of hard to see that. That's not that way. As I don't know if I said it in the beginning of the video, I'm kind of filming these in different little oddities. If you have any requests, you want to see these battles, leave them in the comments below. Let me just take a second to say that before I get more in depth. Felgrand can help target stuff that needs targeting, aka Maiden. Felgrand can also help build combos or stop combos and laugh at them. If you use Felgrand on a Drago sack, it won't get its tokens because its effect will be negated and void. Heretic King, on the other hand, you can you can tribute cards from your hand, allowing you to abuse it with Heretics, said if you go the rank 8 build, allowing you to get instant pluses off the field while sending your hand to the graveyard. But the question comes down to which one of these two is the baddest. Rank 8 there is, and that would be Felgrand, and that's this guy right here. He's your victor of this match. To finish this battle, thank you Omega, we bring you Burst Stream of Destruction versus Inferno Fire Blast versus Dark Magic Attack. I wanted, because the council's been doing so well with a lot of older decks in this whole week, basically is we have some Blue Eyes, we have a Dark Magician deck, and we have card versus card. So it's like bringing the best of Yu-Gi-Oh! And the reason I say the best of Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Does leak into YouTube. And the prior YouTube I did was obviously Yu-Gi-Oh! Deathmaster. And Card versus Card was a great series over there, and I brought it over here. That was one of the first things I wanted to do. The reason I haven't really done much with Card versus Card is because I was looking for ways to improve the living hell out of it. And right now I like the way that it's kind of coming out. But I want your guys' opinions, so leave it in the comments below at the end of this video. Did you like it, or do you want it the old way? You know, from like 2 months ago, I can always link it, but there you go. Burst Stream of Destruction, we'll start with this, because I know how many of you love Blue Eyes. It's a Raigeki. Basically, you can only activate it while you control Blue Eyes White Dragon. Destroy all face-up monster your opponent controls. and Blue Eyes White Dragon cannot attack this turn. Let me say this much. It is a great card because you can just summon Prisma. Well, you could do Prisma with all these guys because all these guys are listed on fusion cards. So, I guess that's not too much fair to say. And then Infernal Fire Blast, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the original attack of one face-up Red Eyes Black Dragon you control. Red Eyes Black Dragon cannot attack during this turn you activate this effect. Let me say this much about the Infernal Fire Blast. You can use it with Prisma, but it's only going to be 1700 damage, so it's kind of lackluster. Dark Magic Attack. Again, can use it with Prisma, activate only while you control a Dark Magician on field. Destroy all spell and trap cards your opponent controls. This is a Harpy's Feather Duster. Toned down, yes, but it is still a Harpy's Feather Duster. And one of the funniest things you can actually do if you want to take the risk, I'm not telling you to do it, if you have something that's running Prisma, is to throw a copy of Dark Magician in there and 3 Dark Magic attacks. And have Daigusto Emerald in there. Enter Troll Mode and laugh your head off. And then play this and watch your opponent go, what the beep? But, take a second and take this all in. This is a Heavy Storm, this is a Troll Burn card, and this is a Raigeki. But ultimately, let me say this much, these two don't allow you to attack. This allows you to attack after you blow up your opponent's back row, which, honestly, I think this has a lot of potential later down the line. So, honestly, I'm going to give Dark Magic Attack the win because you get the attack off, and I hate back row. Those are my reasons, and I'm honest about it, but I'm ready for the TheYugiohCouncil. If you like what you saw, make sure to subscribe for more, and leave a comment and a like on the video. It's not that hard, it only takes a second. And if you want to see more card versus card, leave down some suggestions down below. And if you want to see the whole playlist for card versus card, we'll have one coming possibly when we have like 6 videos. But you can always find it on our Facebook page or access the link it to you, and we will do so for more card versus card. I'm ready for the TheYugiohCouncil, and I'll see you next video. Peace.